Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another studio vlog for July. Today is July 3rd, and it is a bit of a moment of realization for me this week that it's summer, my kids are home from school, and even though they're teenagers, they still need a lot of me to help them keep moving and keep functioning properly during the summertime. So I feel like July is actually going to be more of a studio month for me than August. August will be even more sporadic because I have 2 trips and family visiting and things like that. So the likelihood of me being here is low. So I really have to take advantage of the next 3 weeks here at the studio to push through a lot of work that's just kind of going really slowly right now. So that's what I'm going to do. Just put my head down, get to work, and try to finish off some things. So this piece here that you can see in the background is pretty much done. I just have to do some sewing along the top of these hankies, and then I can put them into like a container to hold, because they're basically going to be an installation. So they're going to be installed on a wall in the gallery like this. And I just have to find some white tape. I think that's how I'm going to attach them to the wall. White painter's tape type tape. So I'm going to do that. They only are going to be up for a pop-up show, which is going to be 3 days. So they don't have to be amazingly installed to the point where they're, foolproof from falling down. If they fall down, I can push them back up to get them through 3 days on a gallery wall. And that is that piece. And then I'm also finishing up the piece from the museum. So it's all sewn together. I'm just going to finish putting this last little symbol on, and then I have to put the edges, make a label, and make a sleeve. And then this piece, I'll need to get a rod for it in the back, and then I can take it to the museum and deliver that. So that'll be happening this month. And then I need to get back to work on my other body of work, and that is the image with the 3 boys. I have to get that started and get moving on that piece. So that is going to be July for me, and hopefully I can get this next piece really established so that I can move into the next one after that. So just try to get these pumped out as quick as I can. That's that. I will hopefully film some stuff today for you and check in again when I've got more to update you on. past mid-July. It's July 21st today. And I wouldn't say July has been a super productive month in the studio, but we're just gonna go with the energy of this month, which has been a bit challenging in terms of focus. And I've got different things I'm going to be puttering around in the studio doing today. I want to try to find a bit more of a relaxed approach to the summer and the way I'm feeling about it, and continue working on the piece that I am doing out of my body of work. These pieces are relating to my ancestry, and so I'm doing a piece for each of the countries that my immigrants immigrated from. So Scotland, Ireland, and England. And the first one I'm working on is Ireland, and this is the image that I was working on doing some hand work on. So all of this is some surface stitching, just one layer that I was working on this weekend. And then this is going to be attached to the bigger piece. And then it will get some more three-dimensionality, and it will also get some quilting onto it. So this is what I'm working on Ireland first. I haven't even really begun gathering the imagery for Scotland or England yet, but that's okay. And I also really feel called to resume working on the quilt, the bed quilt or the functional quilt that I've been working on for a friend. I stopped working on it, I don't even remember. I think it might have been last fall because I was so busy preparing for the museum show and doing that piece that I kind of put that work aside. So I want to get that out today and just do a little bit of work on it every time I come to the studio, the same way I was doing last year before I kind of got interrupted and felt compelled to work on these other pieces. I also need to test out some tape for the piece with all the handkerchiefs, which is called Bad Wife. And I want to just test out this tape and make sure that I can put it onto the gallery wall and that it won't pull the paint off. And I also have a pillow from home. This is a very old pillowcase that I made years ago. And it's time to retire this. I'm probably gonna, I should have actually left the cover at home, washed it, and then brought it in, but I'm going to make a new cover for this for a new chair that we just purchased this weekend for our living room. And I have some beautiful kimono belts that I was gifted by a lovely lady who's in my yoga class, who is moving back to Japan and needs to get rid of a whole bunch of stuff from her house. And so I would have gone through all those kimonos and taken more for the fabric, but I didn't allow myself to do that because I really don't have room for more fabric. But I did allow myself to take two beautiful red sashes, and I'm going to figure out how to make those into a pillow. One of them. I'll pick one of them to cut into a pillow, but they're very long silk pieces of fabric, so I need to kind of play around with that. I don't know if I'll do that today, but that is something that is going to be happening down the line. I also need to baste together the 3 layers of this Ireland quilt, and so I probably need to set up my second table to do that. So that's the plans for today. Who knows how much I will remember to film for you, and also how much I will get done, but that's okay. We're just gonna put my head down and get going. So I just wanted to show you, these are, this is called chain piecing. So I just sew together all of these at the same time, and then you just go in and you clip these little spots in between. So it's a faster way to use the machine. It actually took me a while to remember where I was in this quilt, and I think that's one of the hazards of putting a project on hold, is that you lose your spot. So I had copied the directions for this quilt out of a book, and my ideal way to learn is not through reading. So I'm better when I visually see something being taught to me. So usually like in person or on a video is better for me. So to read something step by step, and obviously the photographs are not super clear because this is a photocopy, I really have to concentrate and have to reread things over and over, and then kind of act it out and put things together. And I couldn't remember where I was when I saw these squares. And then so it took me at least 20 minutes of rereading the directions, looking at what I had been taking out of the pre-cut fabrics with the labels to figure out where I was and what I needed to do next. So it was a bit daunting, but I definitely will not take a break again this long so that I don't lose my place again this way, because it was not helpful. Anyway, I always love the way this looks. It could almost be a scarf. I think people do make scarves out of fabric like this, but obviously this has to be flipped around because the right side out of the fabric is here, so it's not quite as pretty. But now I'm just going to cut these, and then I'm going to have some lunch. Hi all. Okay, I just sewed another set of these. The next set, 72 of them, so it's a very long strand. Let me see if I can get them all. Look. Quite a few of them. Okay, so on the end, and then you just snip it. What's going to happen is this corner is going to be cut off, and then this is going to be folded up, and then there'll be another piece that has the opposite corner folded up, and then they'll meet up together when I start to sew all the blocks together. But that's the next step. So all these little steps. So I'm not going to be, and that's what all of these are as well. These are like the two sides together. So right now I'm just sewing these. I'm just gonna cut these, and then I think I'm gonna stop for today, and then I'll work on the other side, because basically you make 72 with a triangle on the right and 72 with a triangle on the left. And so I'll work on these ones tomorrow or Wednesday whenever I come in. I might not come in tomorrow because I did prep the quilt to quilt at home. And I have a massage in the morning, so I might go to my massage, and then I'm going to do a couple errands, and then I might just go home because there is supposed to be a dryer duct cleaning happening tomorrow, and I'm going to have to let the people into our house to clean those dryer ducts. My son is there, and he could technically do it, but I don't know. It's one of those things. What I'm trying to figure out in terms of balance with the studio is that I want to be here as often as I can, but I also need to make sure that the house is staying, together. I have some more gardening to do. I'm doing a lot of gardening throughout June. I was doing a lot of gardening, and I am just wrapping it up. So my 2 lilac bushes, which did not blossom this spring because they've been neglected. I did some research to try to figure out how to revive them. And so one of the things you have to do is trim them back so that they push out new growth and form buds, and give them more fertilizer. And so I've done that, and I think they're forming buds because they form buds now that then overwinter and then blossom in the spring. So I'm keeping an eye on them for the buds, and I want to make sure that I've done everything I can to try to give them a chance. And they've grown quite tall. One of them is is actually touching our roof and our gutters, and so I want to trim that one down so that it's not touching the roof, because they'll push and grow up, but they won't grow out with the buds, and I want them to be more bushy and less tall. So any type of flowering bush, I guess trees too, but I wouldn't cut trees, but bushes, you really need to keep them trimmed to how you want them to be. So I'm working on those, and I also have a cat problem in my garden. Not my cat, because I don't have a cat, but if you do have a cat who roams the neighborhood, or you have a garden with cats who come and visit your garden, you know what I'm talking about. So I find little surprises in my garden from the cats, and they have been, digging in the garden and then throwing the soil over in different areas. And so I bought some mulch, and I'm going to mulch so that they don't want to come and use my garden as their litter box anymore, because I know all these cats have perfectly good litter boxes in their houses. And so I am going to do my best to deter the cats from coming into my garden, because I don't have a cat, and one of the reasons is I don't really want to deal with their excrement. So yeah, super fun topic for a studio vlog, but anyway. So that's what's going on with that. So yeah, I'm not sure if I'll be here tomorrow, but I will definitely be here on Wednesday. And yeah, I think that's it for the update. I'm just going to continue with these, get them all in the pile, and then I will label them and put all of this away, and then I think I'm going to go to the grocery store. So yeah. So today is July 29th. It's actually my wedding anniversary. We've been married for 19 years now. And I decided today to go downtown to downtown Vancouver. And I'm gonna go to the art gallery and meet my husband Dave for lunch for our celebratory anniversary lunch. And then I've actually booked a ticket to see a new documentary about Georgia O'Keeffe called Brightness of Light, I think, maybe. Yeah, so I thought I'm probably not gonna film a ton because I wanna preserve my battery on my phone, but I will film some of it, and also I will try to remember to give you a review of the film when I watch it, and to tell you if I think it's worth you watching it. So yeah, that's gonna be our day today, and you get to come along. Hey all, so I promised I would give you a update on my impressions of the Georgia O'Keeffe film that I went to see on Tuesday, The Brightness of Light, I believe it was called Georgia O'Keeffe, The Brightness of Light. So overall, I thought it was very well done. It's a very good documentary. It was very thorough in terms of covering her kind of main artistic influences and like pivotal points in her life. They had a lot of good speakers. You know, most documentary films really rely, I think, on the charismatic nature of their speakers about figures to convey a level of authenticity to the film, and I thought they did that very well. Claire Danes was one of the narrators, and she narrated all of the first person narratives that they offered. So whether they were letters or writings that Georgia O'Keeffe had done, Claire Danes was her voice, which I enjoyed. The only critique I would make of the film is that there wasn't really any sort of like they did not sound in any way where they were talking about Georgia's flaws or critical of any of her actions during her life. It was very much a hard tribute with no kind of objective, well, you know, she was great with this, but she did have some people that thought she was a little bit harsh or a little bit like this. And, you know, the only problem I have with that, I mean, I don't want to bash someone who's passed away and she is an American icon in terms of art and in terms of her persona, who she became, who she embodied to the American people, I think is very strong. And even to myself as a female artist, I definitely admired her. But there was no kind of, objective critique of some of her decisions, which I think could have been done without in any way detracting from how important and wonderful she was. I think the problem with putting people up on a pedestal and not showing their flaws in these types of mediums is that you make it seem like they're beyond reproach, or they are, that you should never like be honest and expose flaws because you're going to taint her somehow. And I don't think that's the right approach. I would have preferred a little bit of a critique because nobody's perfect, and people do have flaws, and it's important that they are shared in a, not in a way to denigrate someone or to pull them down, but more in a way to make them seem like a rounded person, like a real person, not just like, a personification of a heroine, which is, what you run the risk of doing when you don't offer any kind of balance so no darkness to the light. And it's just impossible that she was this perfect human who never did anything wrong. It's just impossible. And I will also say there was one quote, like one statement that one of the commentators, I don't remember whether it was an art historian or a professor or what, she said that Georgia was fearless. And one of Georgia's most poignant and memorable quotes, in my opinion, was the one where she said, "I was afraid every single day of my life, but I did it anyway." And so I feel like they missed an opportunity there to show a more humble, authentic version of who she was. She did a lot of things that made her appear fearless, but she was not in fact fearless. She pushed through her fear. She had more determination inside of her to pursue her art than she had fear to stop her from doing things because of the obstacles that were put in her way. That's a really important thing that I think they could have conveyed in the film, and it would have, again, given the film just a little bit more authenticity. So that's my critique of Brightness of Light. Like I said, it was very good, and I do hope to take more advantage of any sort of films that come along in future around female artists especially, but artists in general. Okay, I'll check in again with you later when I have more to share.